the legendary Modern decks has been leaked, giving us reprints to some of the most sought after and expensive Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But because of that, it makes you wonder, what are the best Yu-Gi-Oh budget decks in the game right now? Well, don't worry, big dog. Thanks to the last YCS event and of course the TCG Modern decks, today I'm going to be giving you everything you need to know about budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks and the strategies you should be playing. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all, big dogs? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that's your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. So, the budget tier list post the TCG Modern decks. Of course, I have taken YCS Sydney into consideration as well as the events that happened over the weekend. And as you already know, we have 5 different categories here, from budget baller all the way to go play Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green instead. I've already logged in way too many hours of Pokemon. You see my team? That bum's not on my team. This bum, he getting tested out. But my team is an Alakazam, a Nidorino, a soon-to-be Vaporeon, and a Dratini, okay? Now hear me out. My wife bought this Nintendo Switch 2 for my birthday alongside of Pokemon ZA. Pokemon ZA still is unopened. So when I mean go play Pokemon instead, it's actually not a bad experience when we talking about Pokemon. You might even hear some references as I go through these Yu-Gi-Oh decks, but let's go ahead and start off with the criteria. As always, every single one of these Yu-Gi-Oh decks can be built in under $100. I think that's pretty budget for Yu-Gi-Oh! And not only do I take into consideration the competitive viability of these decks, another really important thing is its budget potential. If you put more money into the deck, does it become stronger? And what are the odds of this deck becoming stronger or getting more support over time? With that being said, let's go ahead and start off with Dinomorphia. Go Power Rangers! I think that Dinomorphia unfortunately needs to be set to its pastures. It's a deck that's hard to justify right now. Don't get me wrong, Dinomorphia is still incredibly cheap, but I think one of the biggest things that happened to this deck was Solemn Judgment getting limited. That was a huge blow. You no longer have 3 copies of a do-it-all trap card that can stop some of the most important cards in the game and allow you to keep tempo. I think this deck can come back into contention if we get more pay life point trap cards or just more Dinomorphia support. Elemental heroes, or heroes in general, I just made a crazy deck profile, brother, and I'm telling you guys right now, this deck is like picking Mankey in Route 3, all right? Look, I know game, I know ball. Whether you picked Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander as your starter, Mankey is a really, really solid Pokemon for what you get. Kind of like how heroes are very solid for what you get with tons of potential. I think that this deck is one of those potential investment type things. We will never not get hero support. Ever. It just takes the right combination of cards and the meta to make heroes a lot better. The masked hero cards are amazing, allowing us to be able to fusion summon into Contrast Hero. That card is everything that Heroes has been missing. Now, in my last tier list, I did have Tri-Brigade in my potential investment, and it actually was a really good deck as an engine. Let's just keep it a bean if we're talking about like genuinely budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks that are like guaranteed the best of the best. Yummy, that's easily one of them. A Yu-Gi-Oh deck that has topped as a pure version of the deck, meaning that it's well within its budget range, and it's considered one of the strongest decks in the format. Then there's also Malice, a deck that just won't die. I'm starting to catch on to a thing, like how Psychic Pokemon are ridiculously busted in Fire Red and Leaf Green. Cutesy Yu-Gi-Oh decks seem to be a little overpowered, my brother. These decks are hands down some of the best decks that you can pick that will give you a bang for your buck. The only downside is that I don't think we'll be getting any support for these strategies anytime soon. Tri-Brigade, on the other hand, can be a Tri-Brigade yummy deck, but as a pure deck, man, go play Fire Red, bro. Play it. You get Arcanine as a Gen 1 exclusive, you get Scyther as a Gen 1 exclusive, brother. I'm telling you, Fire Red is where you gotta align your legions. Tri-Brigade unfortunately doesn't have the merit to be able to keep up in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, and it's an even worse Genesis deck, seeing that it's a Link strategy. Moving on, we have Cool Tunes, which I actually think is a good price Yu-Gi-Oh deck. If we take Genesis in consideration, this deck actually does hold its weight in there, and is also a decently strong deck in the TCG. Hypothetically, hypothetically you want a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that you can play in both formats, this is easily one of the best. And I want you guys to keep in mind decks like Centurion and Memento, Pearly, and Rescue Ace, before they became really strong Yu-Gi-Oh decks, they were inside of those box sets, those 3 deck box sets, where they weren't as powerful for a while. It wasn't until recently Raizio, Malice, Yummy, and K9 where Yu-Gi-Oh strategies became immediately tier 1 out the box. I think Konami is going back to the old way where strategies become really good over time. So watch out for Cool Tune being a top meta deck very soon. Moving on, there's Orcus. This deck's strength should not be denied. Orcus has been topping as a pure variant using just Orcus cards. It's been topping as a Horus variant, which just so happened to get reprints inside of the Charmer structure deck. There's then even the Azamina variant that allows you to summon Eel Severa, and if you mix in the new Dark Magician cards and you got the money, Sorcerer of Destruction allows you to summon Red Eye's Dark Dragoon, and you can get an Eel Severa if you combo it right. Yep, I'm definitely gonna say that this is in the cusp between budget baller and good price Yu-Gi-Oh deck. My only beef with Orcus is that this deck isn't as strong as these decks right now. It doesn't have the accolades, as so to speak. That's right, big dogs. It don't got the YCS tops or the summer bops, but it definitely got the regional slops, my brother. I don't know what I said. Ironically, sticking going to the Pokemon theme, Black Wings remind me of Pidgeotto. You're growing up thinking it's great, and then you kind of grow up and realize that, man, maybe I should have just kept it in Fire Red Leaf Green. The Blackwing community will try to crucify me. They are going to disagree and say that Blackwing is the strongest budget Yu-Gi-Oh deck of all time. And you know what? I agree, if we're talking about Edison format. Until then, with no recent support for Blackwings, this deck is markedly behind a lot of the other Yu-Gi-Oh strategies, whereas they are 1-card combos and Blackwing is at least 2. I'm gonna give Hecka Hands the benefit of the doubt. It did do really well in the new format in the beginning. I think that this deck is hard to justify right now, but just like with Cool Tunes, this strategy will be getting a lot of support in the future. I mean, man, check it out. Hitmonchamp, Hecka Hands, we seeing a lot of hands no matter what. With Mitsurugi getting key reprints in the TCG Modern deck, cards like Mitsurugi Ritual becoming from an ultra rare to a common, and then them literally leaving no stone unturned. I mean, everything Mitsurugi got reprinted. They even gave you 2 SP Little Knights, brother. They were cooking here. This deck is one of the best decks in the game right now. Mitsurugi as a pure variant, in my opinion, has proven itself as a budget baller style Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Now, I know I've been talking boomer, but Archmage had a lot of potential. Archmage actually reminds me of Rhydon. You look so cool. Why aren't you doing cool things? Archmage wouldn't be in the too hard to justify in my opinion. I still think it's a potential investment. Keep in mind that this is a lore Yu-Gi-Oh deck. You gotta give it patience, brother. Red Dragon Archfiend is... I want to... Look, man, look. I ain't gonna lie, it's right here. But you gotta hear me out. The confirmed Red Dragon Archfiend support that's going to happen in about 2.5 months, man, let me cope right here, guys. Let me give the crow lovers something to hate at when they get down below in the comment section and they be like,
Cali be glazing Red Dragon Archfiend. He think it's better than Blackwing.
It is. This deck is full of 1-card combos and is getting more support. On top of that, we did get a Dark Dragon monster in Zarin, and that guy, he kind of cool. Unfortunately, though, it hasn't been as cool as Ravenwing version 4. Listen here, big dogs. As you guys can see, I got the pinks. Can you see it? You can't see it? Okay, boom. I got the pink sleeves you guys have been craving for. And more importantly, not only is this the #1 sleeve on the entire market, it's the cheapest. Also, I know you guys have had shipping complaints as being your only complaint for the sleeve, which acceptable. I have talked to the company directly and we are here to rectify that. So go ahead and head your tail to TheCaliEffect.com and purchase your sleeves today. And in case you guys keep asking, no, I don't own Ravenwing. You remember when you bought that Magic cart? I kind of did something similar. Next, we have Fire King, which has actually been setting the competitive scene ablaze. Get it? Fire King is really, really good. It has topped multiple YCSs now, and it's been doing fairly well in the regional department. The best thing about this deck is the Jurak part of the deck that allows you to be able to destroy all cards on the field. You guys gotta pay attention to that. That just so happens to be one of the best things that you can do in this format where Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategies need to be able to build a board. I also think, ironically, Blue Eyes is at the very lowest of potential investment, but I'm gonna make a bold take and say that it's a good price deck. Listen here, big dogs, if Blue Eyes were something, it's Charizard. Highly, highly overrated by the people that love it, but also underrated to the people that don't give it respect. Brother, there was literally a pure Blue Eyes Yu-Gi-Oh deck with no Primite that actually topped a regional. And this ain't the first time that something like that has happened. This deck is good. Big dogs with just 3 structure decks, you can be a racist too. So go ahead and get your Blue Eyes on and destroy anybody that isn't Blue Eyes in your way. I don't like it, but it sounds like 1942 Germany would be proud. I'm just saying. Branded also has the same merit as some of these other Yu-Gi-Oh decks, YCS tops, and is a really good mixture Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Because we got new support for the Albaz lore, this was the deck to take the most advantage, and Branded has been going on a roll. I think it's one of the best baller budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks you can get. Incredibly cheap too, with Albion now being reprinted just recently, and Mesa Muertos. Speaking of Mesa Muertos, we gotta talk about Pumpkin, chat. Yeah, well, no diddy. Okay, it's zombies, right? So it should be a potential investment, but I'm coping. It hasn't even been a good Genesis deck. It's really sad to see that this deck hasn't been successful, and I am so confused because I've been doing pretty well with it. Pumpkin, in my opinion, can go anywhere between these 3 slots, if I'm being so honest. Maybe we just haven't cracked the code and need a little bit more time. Tenpai Dragon is hard to justify, and the reason why I say that is because the best way to play Tenpai Dragon is probably a Sky Striker Radiant Typhoon version, but considering that Sky Striker just got, I don't know, its own structure deck with new cards, why not just play Sky Striker? Because it's literally the budget bowler. Also, Radiant Typhoon cards are a little expensive. Sky Striker was already doing pretty well, with its drawback being that it was expensive, but now that those Sky Striker cards alongside of the new Sky Striker Link 2 from Duelist Advance was reprinted, it's definitely budget bowler. Brothers, for the people that are saying Ray is Bay, stop. I would put RB in potential investment. This is a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that has been doing decent over the regional success, and I think is just a couple of cards away, machine cards away from being really good. X-Sabers also got new support. No. The X-Saber support is okay. So you have an X-Saber monster that allows you to be able to summon 2 X-Sabers from your deck. That's good. And then you start to realize the X-Saber cards they're not good. I think if you take those cards and put it into 2010 when the X-Sabers came out, the deck is tier 0. But the problem is that was like 16 years ago. So maybe Genesis, where Ash Blossom is a little harder to play. Sword Soul also goes into play Pokemon Fire Red or in Leaf Green. These 2 decks remind me of like Moltres and Articuno. They're legendaries. These are legendary decks, but that's where the goodness stops. Doom Z has actually been doing a lot better. I'm gonna put it in the hard to justify right now. The reason why is because I think that Doom Z can do better. There is an opportunity for Doom Z to be a better Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I know when the next set comes out, it gets another card that makes it better, but fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me twice, I ain't falling for that again. Look, man, I've already, nah, I don't do that. Doomsed. Oh, that is how you say it. It's Dooms. It's not Doom Z. It's Dooms. Dogmatica also seems like a really cool deck, but still hard to justify. Mesa Muertos gave it a new card, and the deck seems really cool, but probably closer to a Genesis deck. Psychics are definitely go play Pokemon. It's just not happening right now. And I would say the exact same thing with Rescue Ace. What are we doing here? Aneacraft falls under the potential investment here. This is one of those annoying Yu-Gi-Oh decks that does top regionals somehow, and just so happens to be really cheap. DDD just got top 4 out of YCS, and it's one of the cheapest decks in the entire room. I'm gonna put it in budget bowl. And Memento also does decently well. I think it's a really good price Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Lastly goes Bald Man and Water. These decks are pretty successful in the regional level and are decently cheap. Water will get more support because Water and Man is trap deck, so it gets more trap support. Both of these decks, in my opinion, are good price budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks. The interesting thing is that there are less potential investment Yu-Gi-Oh decks and more just good budget Yu-Gi-Oh strategies overall. Though I would say decks like Water Odeon and Cool Tune could be considered potential investment simply because they are going to get more indirect support between tuners, trap cards, and more water monsters. But that's all that I have for the budget tier list. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, if you like more amazing content like this, you already know what to do. Be sure to check out another one of these videos. And also, remember what I said, brother. Don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the next day. I'm going to catch you on the next one.